Hello and welcome to another session of Music Matters with Ev. And I am so pleased to be able to interview someone who I consider the godfather of original soul music from Bristol, Stephen Redmond. Welcome.
Yeah, that was a good one. Godfather.
You are. I remember seeing a few of your live shows and I'm telling you, you owned it. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. What do you say to that?
So how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I'm enjoying the sun that I can see right now. My mind is trying to project, out into the big wide world and just trying to connect and see what's going on, see what we could do, see what positive, vibes you can pick up and see who's doing stuff, Talking about myself, I'm in sort of two lives at the moment, a working life and a music life, it's two different scenes that I'm in. And I'm looking at my fellow musicians, not just in this country, but Germany, where I lived for a while, and France, you name it, Switzerland, all over. They're all in the same boat, right? We're all in the same boat. Frustrated, can't get out there, can't get on stage. I mean, I kind of understand that feeling. I haven't been doing anything for a while now, but as you know, everything is always there, right? And you always want to. It's just a part of you that I don't know how to really explain that. It's just.
We fully understand. I want to take it right back. Where did this journey begin for you? Where did you realize, music was going to be a significant part of your life?
When did I realize? I don't think that even came into play. When did I realize? I think it was always there. If I go back to when I was in school, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and back in the day, there was a program on TV. It was a talent show. It was sort of like the X Factor. It was the only talent show on the planet.
Wait a minute, was it Opportunity Knocks?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one, man. Pure black and white. Yeah. Opportunity Knocks. And I remember pulling on my mum's skirt, saying, Mom, put me on there. Let me go. My mum, every time she looked at me, she just laughed, because she didn't know what else to do with it. And I think that was our frustration growing up in the day. My parents and all my other friends, most of my friends' parents, they didn't really connect with the rest of society in that way to know, oh, these are the channels. I mean, was there even a possibility to do that? I mean, there was a possibility, obviously, because they had contestants and whatnot. But my mum had known the first thing about how to do it, and so I grew up in that phase, or just dreaming about it. I also taking part in activities. Started off with percussion. I went to piano lessons when I was in school, in junior school. I think because I was influenced with the boys, and I cut it off at some point. I was getting older, and I thought, wow, there's other things I could be doing, which is one thing I regret, not carrying on with that. I wish I would have carried on with that.
When did you start performing music? When was your first?
My first performance was in school, actually.
Okay.
The school choir. And it was some sort of venue, and we were practicing with all the schools in Bristol, in I think it was the Southwest.
Yes.
I can't remember. And it was for an event at Colston Hall.
Colston Hall, yeah.
Yeah. And I was the bongo player right at the front, with another girl bongo player. I think her name was Angela. I'm not sure. I think that was my first performance, and it was also shortly after that ITV West came to the school and did a video on me bongoing and stuff with the choreographer,
which was really. You were on TV.
I was on TV. Yeah, that was my first TV appearance. Yeah. And then I was into sports as well, so I was doing other things. I wanted to be a gymnast originally, as well as a musician, which is the reason I joined the army. Believe it or not, they said that was a fast tracking way to get my qualifications, and boy, was that wrong. Just ended up being a soldier. But in those days, I was still an entertainer. I was always called up to sing a song, crack a joke, or.
So this was while you were in the army?
While I'm in the army, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually turned down offers from the army, to actually perform. It just wasn't quite my thing. But whilst I was in the army, I went to Germany for my last couple of years and met the Germans there, got to meet musicians, and it just developed into, well, one day I was in a band. Before you knew it, I was in another band, I think at one time I was in 3 bands at the same time. It was just unreal. And I got an invitation into a studio one day, back in the 90s, did a recording. I think 2 weeks later, I turned around and it was in the charts before anybody could even think. Even the record companies were like, "Oh, what are we going to do? We haven't signed this guy up," And so they quickly did that. Another 2 weeks after that, I was in Spain doing a video for this song, and just things just went from there. And once you're in the business, you get to know people. You get to, if you are successful, it takes you to different countries, different places.
So what about your producing side? Because I know you as well as a performer and a songwriter, musician. You're also a very, very good producer. So where did that come in? How did that come in?
That came in because I was invited to work on a project where the lead singer had left, and they had an album, but no artist. And so I started to work on this album for these guys, and one of them I befriended really well, and I call him the guru because he's the guy who showed me how to use, the old samplers, the Akai samplers, the old computers, the 24 VST. Cubase is what he had another program, but he was the guy that brought me into it. His name is Rico, and we became good friends, and he was that good that there are well-known rappers in France who have mentioned him on their albums because he showed them the way. He was just technical in that way, and he just walk into them and he'd show you what to do and how he's doing it. And he's really good. I mean, he's still doing his thing now. It's just unfortunate that he's in Switzerland at the moment and his wife is in Africa, so we don't get to meet. Or he used to come over here and we used to do a lot of stuff, but we don't get to communicate. But he's the guy that brought me into this producing stuff. It's just a natural progression. Like, if you have ideas in your head of a song and whatnot, and you want to get it down, record it somehow, and there's no one around, then you either have to pay someone or you have to do it yourself. At the time, I couldn't pay anyone, so I could barely afford an instrument. So I had to do most of it myself. So the keys, from learning piano back in the days, my fingers were ready. But even though I couldn't read music, I could hear. I could seek out the notes and the chords that I wanted, and I could finish a song that way. Or when I fell in love with the bass, watching all these heroes play basses, slap bass. I fell in love with a slap bass and decided to buy my own bass at one point, and I just decided to learn the technique because I loved it. I just loved it. And it was funny. Whilst I was in Germany once, I met this guy who was it was a couple of guys. They were from Poland. They just asked me if I knew music or did music or knew anywhere they could go to do music. And anyway, we got together, we started jamming together in a room, but this was a heavy metal band,
Okay.
And it was only like a hobby for me, but and I ended up doing a couple of gigs with them. And it must have been the first time that the audience had gone to see a metal band and seen a bass man slap a bass, right? And I remember the audience saying, "What is he doing with the bass?" What was he? They just didn't understand what was going on, but it sounded good, It sounded good.
That sounds awesome. I know that would definitely work because it's just percussive. It's just a percussive sound.
It's just hammering on a string. And then the odd pluck every now and again. And they were like, "Oh my God, what's he doing?" Some people actually thought I was breaking it, that I was actually being aggressive with it, but I wasn't.
Well, I tell you what, if they thought you were being aggressive with the bass, obviously you were taking their focus away from the overall sound, because heavy metal, I mean, what is not aggressive in heavy metal?
Exactly. I mean, you should have seen the drummer. He was prepared for battle. He had the spandex, he had the gloves, he had everything, he had the headband. Well, he was the feature for me, That was crazy times,
So I remember in Bristol, before you went and spent some time in Germany again, I remember that you had a sweet soul band. I came to see you guys a few times, and everything about the band, the look, the sound, it was just, that's why I call you the godfather of soul music from Bristol, because even down to, you're going to laugh now,
Right.
Steve, I was looking at your shoes, you know, the black and white shoes, everything. I was just thinking, yeah, this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
authenticity at the point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah. Yeah. If I had to admit something, yeah, it would be one thing I hate is going in downtown into a store, shopping for men's clothes, and then looking at a rack and seeing 50 tops that all the same.
Mm,
They look all the same. The shoes, they're all the same. They're either brown or black. I get jealous of women's fashion sometimes because I see designs in their shoes and stuff that I think, oh, I'd like that, but it's marked feminine. So
mm,
you know, there's no real design in the men's fashion. You know, there's no real range. I gotta say, it's all
yeah.
straight. So I've always looked out for the something different. It's just me. Just wanted to give myself a trademark and some kind of
That looked the
yeah,
business, and it sounded the business as
yeah.
well in all
Well,
aspects.
well, I appreciate that. I was never really sure with how we sounded, and you know, I could only hope that we were good. You know, but I couldn't really tell you that. I remember, yeah, we were great. You know, we were good. You know, we sounded all right. Yeah, I can never think that somehow. I don't know.
Well, I always, as you probably appreciate as well, being a musician and producer, whenever you go and listen to music, especially live music, there's always elements that you're going to pick up on because you know a little bit about what the musicians, the MD is trying to
Hmm.
portray.
Yeah.
So you kind of home in on the fine details.
Hmm.
And when I came to see you, that's what I was doing. I was, because I know you already. I know what you're capable of.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to be surprised by the music. I'm
Right.
going to say, yeah, well, obviously Steve. So he's going to be down there. He's going to be holding it down real well. But
Mm.
this is a band setup. So
Mm.
I was focusing on the other musicians as well, what they were doing, what they were bringing to it.
Yeah.
And what I thought was the icing on the cake was the fact that you had that perfect dynamics between the female vocals and yourself, your
Hmm.
vocals,
Mm.
which really topped it off. I mean, you could have done it with just your vocals, you could have done it with just hers. It would have still been successful, but I
Mm.
like the dynamics between the two
Yeah. Yeah.
different types of vocal outputs.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it was something to behold. When it stopped, I just thought, I suppose all good things must come to an end.
Yeah. It was a shame. I didn't want it to stop necessarily, but it didn't seem to be going anywhere. You know, if you've already been in the business and you know how certain things work, and you can sort of feel if it's destined for something or not. And at the time, you know, the other guys were a lot younger than me. You know, they were just starting out. They were having kids and concentrating on their other future, their work future, and their. Whereas for me, it would have been all or nothing. Let's go out. Let's leave Bristol. Let's go out. Let's do something else. Let's explore, you know, other towns and places and stuff.
What happened when
Yeah.
you went to Germany?
Obviously, the army took me to Germany, and
Oh, I see.
I stayed there. I worked there as a civilian first through the army. I was working for the army after I
Mm-hmm.
left them. I was
Mm-hmm.
working for them as a civilian. In that time, yeah, in my spare time after work, you know, I'd meet up with musicians and have sessions with them, or I'd go see live music, and
Mm-hmm.
it just grew from there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up performing with different bands and whatnot. And
Take us up to now, 2019, your musical activities up to 2019. What was that like?
my personal career took a back seat after my little bit of claim to fame there in Germany. I became a little bit of a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
So I teamed up with another guy who played guitar for me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was into social care and caring for depraved, you know, children and
Mm-hmm.
just refugees and people who've had it rough. You know, he was doing little things like that, and he thought it would have been would be a good idea if we would team up and do these workshops for these kids. And
Mm-hmm.
so I started doing that with him, and we travel around the country in Germany and was doing workshops for these youth centers and stuff. And always in the goal to advance whatever they were doing. It was a good gig. It'd be like a 3-day workshop, and at the end of that workshop, every kid would have their own CD with the music on it and their vocals on it. And back in those days, that was, what more do you want?
Exactly.
What more do you want? So I did that, and when I left Germany to come back to the UK, as well as the band, I did try working with a few musicians as a producer, which didn't really work out. But as well as doing the band, I was still doing the workshops. We tried doing it. With do you know John Stakes? Yeah, John.
Yes.
Do you know John? Did you meet him? Yeah. So we invented the Music Works together and did workshops for youth centers and schools and stuff.
Excellent, brilliant. So, what impact did 2020 have on that work?
Well, immediately it cancelled a few gigs. I had a few invites from Germany, which are still on hold, basically. I know there's a few people who still want to go ahead with it, and there's others that think, oh, it's all gone, it's all dead. It's not happening. So, yeah, as far as the music goes, a lot of projects just disintegrated, just put on hold, basically.
What do you see of the future? What do you see of the immediate, the prospective future? How do you imagine it?
I'd like to imagine it being back on stage at some point. I don't know if I can see that, but I'd like to think that's still possible somewhere. But I'm not looking at the solo artists and stuff. I mean, what I'd really like to do is just put music out that I've done myself, and I think I'd be happy with that.
Yeah,
just to put it out.
Yeah.
I'm producing stuff every day, but it's not going out. Right. I'm trying to do it all myself. I'm trying to produce it. I'm trying to mix it. I'm trying to master it. I'm doing the artwork. I do it all. I take the photos, the videos. I'm writing the script for the video.
So it's the Steve Redman Corporation.
Yeah. So it's still there. At the moment I'm working with a guy from Wales. His name is Mikey Tops, and we call ourselves together. We call ourselves S&M Beats. It's just Steve and Mike, right? When we met, he's a reggae artist, and I always said to him, "Listen, I'm not a reggae person, right? I love reggae, right? But I'm not a reggae artist." No. Every song this guy threw at me was a reggae song, right? So I ended up doing. I think I got about 3 or 4 on Spotify at the moment right now.
Okay, right. So what advice would you give to people who are thinking of becoming active in music? What advice would you give them?
Always believe in yourself. Don't listen to your mates who want to tell you that you're not going to do this and you can't do this and you can't do that. Just be consistent. Because I find, if I think about myself, I think part of a lot of people say, "Oh, why is Steve not done this? Or why is he not there? Why is he not up there? Why is he not there?" And it's down to me. It's my fault because I haven't pursued that. I've been doing too many other things. I haven't stuck to my guns, and I'm aware of that. But it doesn't, still doesn't stop me doing my music or thinking about music. But what I would say is, you have to make some sort of commitment to it and understand that there's going to be times when you're going to suffer for that, and you're going to have to go through hardships. But if it's what you love to do, just keep doing it, and then believe me, it'll come. It'll come. Just like you called me up the other day, or text me the other day. Oh, what's this? That all happens from what you do. You plant your seeds, and then you see how it grows.
Right. I've got a testimony to give, but I'm going to save it until the end because you mentioned that term, planting a seed. Right. You mentioned that, so we're going to come back to that. All right. So, where can we get to hear the stuff that is, have you got a website or how do we find you on Spotify?
Like I said, Spotify, I've got a few tracks up there with as S&M Beats.
How do we find you on SoundCloud?
Dread is DREDD1.
I'm commissioning you the stuff that you're producing and you're just putting it on the shelf and, you know, it's not going out there. Come on. We need it up on the website for sale.
Yeah. You know, I sent, it's funny, I bought a plugin the other day, and the guy who actually owns the company sent me 3 samples, and one of them was like a keyboard chop, and he said, oh yeah, I sent you 3 samples, maybe it'll inspire you to do something. If you do, get back to me, right? So I thought, someone has thrown the gauntlet down.
There you go. There you go.
So I've been working on this stuff, and I sent one of the versions to my to Mikey, the guy that I'm doing S&M Beats with, and he just went crazy. He said, we got to do this song. Oh, I just played it 3 times in my truck. Oh, great.
Good.
So
Good.
yeah, I'm happy for that. So yeah, I'm going to be doing stuff like that. I'm going to be putting stuff up. Yeah.
Good to hear. All right. Yeah. So one more question, and this is a little bit of a tongue in cheek.
Mm-hmm.
If the year 2020 was a human being, what would you say to him or her?
You got to do better.
Here.
You need to get out, brush yourself off, and keep your head up and look forward. Keep stepping.
Okay.
In the right direction.
I like that. All right. Yeah. Steve, I'm going to take you back to planting the seed. And I'm going to confess to everyone, I'm going to testify, as they say in church. I remember, Steve, you are a main part of the reason why I am still producing today. And this is why. Remember when I had the internet cafe?
Yeah.
You walked into that cafe because you used to come and get your curry goat and rice.
Yeah.
And you walked into the cafe and you handed me a CD, right? And on it, you wrote Cubase 1 point whatever. And then underneath you put, don't do it. And so by that time, I was messing around with Cubasis and something else, which you got with the computer system when you bought it. Right. You handed me that disc, right? And it just changed my musical world because I saw, oh my goodness, this is, oh my gosh. And you were right to say, don't do it, because after that time, several times, Steve, where I would be up all night and not know, say, night finish and morning come, because you're just in it, you're just on it, and you're producing. And so there you have it. I've always thought to myself, if ever I get awarded anything from my music productions, I've got to give an accolade to Stephen Redman, because he gave me that software, and that was the start of it for me. So thank you.
Nice one. Oh, that's good. That's good to know, man. Yeah. See, these are things, man. It's just brilliant. That's the good things in life. You know, that's the stuff I want to hear, man.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm indebted to you, and I owe you a big pot of rice and peas and curry goat. Okay. For that.
Yeah, man. I needed that the other day. Oh, that was. I remember those days, and I miss the cafe. You know, I miss, you know, just popping over there and just having the general talk that we used to have. And, and then on top of that, you get good food. You know, you know, what more can you ask for, man? It's just.
Steve, we've come to the end, and I'm so pleased that you've done this for us. And I'm going to ask you now: can we keep an eye on what you're doing, and can we invite you back, because there's going to be times when you're going to put stuff out and we want to know how you're doing. You know what I mean? What's happening with your musical world. So please, will you agree to come back? Okay,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, my mind is working all the time as far as music and stuff goes, you know, and there's always something going to be happening, no matter what, whether I want it to or not. You know, it's going to happen. Something's going to happen. So
absolutely. All right. Well, until we next time meet, you take care.
Yeah, you too, man. I appreciate that, man. You look after yourself, and
stay positive.
Bye. Peace.